What makes a good livestock transport driver, do you think?
Oh well, he's got to have a lot of hats, and he's got to be mechanically pretty savvy. We do some pretty remote work at times, and no phone service or mechanics, so you've got to be able to get yourself out of trouble. He's got to be able to know how many sheep or cattle to put in a pen. The sheep bloke's got to be able to work a dog. They've got to be pretty skilled people. It's a skill that I've believed this all my life that is not recognised nearly enough. Like a bloke that can hop in $1 million worth of gear and go back into the ramp and put 660 fat lambs on it. You just don't. You've got to have. It's a certain skill.
You can't have a gun driver that's scared of a cow. So you've got to. It's very difficult with getting livestock drivers, because basically they've got to come from the farming background just about, so that they understand animals, and then they can drive the truck as well. And if you've got one that can do all that and be half handy in the toolbox as well, and fix himself on the run if any little things go wrong, that's what you look for.
Patient. Being clean is also a very, very handy attribute. Being good with the stock, and just not driving like an idiot, taking off, changing gears. It's all just steady and looking after the stock and pulling over and checking stuff. It's not like a load of freight where it just gets forklift on and a strap on and you go. You have to keep checking and making sure everything's travelling right. So it takes as well as you've got to be able to load trucks. You'll be there loading by yourself, middle of the night, rain, hail or shine. So you've certainly got to have plenty of stock sense, as well as then know how to operate a vehicle.
But what about the role of the smaller family owner operators? What sort of role do they play in the industry?
Well, play a major part, because we still need those small operators running around with local knowledge and do all these smaller jobs, paddock shifts, paddock to paddock, and look after all the smaller guys.
All operators are critical to the industry. Our membership for our association is actually 90% owner-operators, so that's from 1 truck to 3 trucks, small family operations, and they're critical to the whole supply chain. They're flexible. They're personalised, and they're also out there having the drive to be betterment. And the large transport operators, they all started off as a little transport operator, and this is a great thing about Australia. We can have an opportunity to grow if you choose and work hard. You get reward. And the transport industry can be tough, but it can also be very rewarding. And then big operators also need the small operators to help them make their tasks and complete their tasks. So it's a very holistic industry, in that the big guys will help the little guys and vice versa at the end of the day.
Oh well, I think we're the nuts and bolts of it all. We've always got a young fella there that we're training through the ranks. We've just started a bloke now that's a bit older but done a lot of driving, and I think the companies like ours are the ones that get the young people started. I've started probably 4 or 5 people that have a zero experience, and now are very competent operators. So I think our smaller shows, we've got the time to put into them, because without younger drivers, we won't have older drivers.
There's always a niche market for the local carrier, because the local carrier is there on hand 7 days a week. If something needs doing straight away, it doesn't always suit the big guys to be coming out of their way to it might just be moving some sheep from farm to farm in the local area. So you always got to, and I think they realise that. So to have us on hand 7 days a week, basically, they'll throw you the better work.
What are some of the big issues at the moment for livestock and rural transporters?
Look, I think our roads are a big issue, which you look at it now, we all know councils are broke. And it doesn't matter what state you're in, they're all broke. The local council, and the problem is the local council relies on the state governments to give them money or some federal funding. They got no money either. We control so much of a network, and they face the same issues with natural disasters and betterment programs. So unfortunately they can't even keep up with just maintenance, let alone betterment of their infrastructure, and that's just snowballed now to where we are, where there's literally potholes as big as your truck. So that and then it flows on to maintenance of the vehicles, driver fatigue, animal welfare, etc. So whilst that dirt road or tar road, to the average person drives over it and doesn't really think much of it, to a heavy vehicle operator, it's critical that we have that infrastructure there to ensure that we can do our job.
Just keeping people coming in the industry, that is the foremost. If you haven't got a bloke to drive the truck, you've got nothing.
I got sick of going to facilities that are what I call crap, and no one wants to do anything about it. You've got to have a solution, so we try to come up with a solution. We tried to do guidebooks and that sort of thing, and when it was a fatality and a coroner asked where's the standard, there's no standard on loading ramps, so we went and pursued the standard and we got the standard, but unfortunately the standard is good if someone gets hurt really bad, but no one seems to take any notice of it. Now I've probably noticed that there's 3 or 4 Facebook pages and that going on, advertising crappy ramps and that sort of thing, which is good. The only thing that we've got to try and do now is get it legislated, because these people are still buying cheap stuff, which doesn't meet the standard. Until we get it legislated, hopefully then we'll have something that's decent and protect all the young drivers and all that sort of thing. No, I'm just being passionate. I hate seeing drivers getting hurt when it's not necessary.
I really have a problem with the ALRTA truck wash system at the moment. There's no governing body stopping any of the shires from charging whatever they like for our truck washing facilities. And it really worries me that some of the shires are thinking this is a great milking cow. This is, money for nothing. And of recent times, there's been a couple of price increases on a couple of different shires for no justification, and don't give us any answers or justify why they've increased the prices. At the moment, there's no way of capping or stopping the shire from capping, to cap the prices. And I think we're doing, it's costing us as carriers to wash out between loads and all the rest of it, but we're doing a service to any of the shires and to any of the farmers that we're not spreading diseases, we're not spreading weeds and all the rest of it. And my personal opinion is, I think somebody like the DPI or any of those disease organisations should jump on board and get behind us and say, well, hang on a minute, if we don't keep washing out because it's too expensive nowadays, well, what's going to happen down the track is we're going to start spreading diseases from shire to shire.
Effluent management, major issue. Nowhere to dump it. It's kind of our problem, but it isn't really, and we can't do anything with it. So we get fined if we do dump it on the side of the roads, and so that's a fairly major issue going forward of nowhere to put it.
Yeah. What about technology? Is there any, just how technology's changed the industry in the last 10 years? Is there sort of a standout technology for you that's really been?
Yep, GPS tracking has been a fairly major one, very very handy. Cameras been also very very handy for amount of incidents happening on the road now. That's been great. And technology just continues to get better and better.
The seeing eye technology that's around now, there's different options available. The one I used, it saved my life. Literally, the fellow I was driving with fell asleep, and it recognised it, shook the seat, woke him up, and yeah, we didn't have an accident. AI technology now. I have a lot of AI. All my trucks have a AI camera in them, so it's doing driver learning habits, and will actually talk to the driver and say, hey, you're distracted, don't pick up your phone, you're getting tired, consider a rest break. So it learns the driver's habits, and at the end of the day, it's about safety. You want your people to come home every day, and you want to make sure that other road users are safe as well.
Yeah. Has technology sort of changed much in your time?
Oh God, yeah. Like the seam, we've got seam machines in our trucks, and the satellite tracking and just simple things like Google Maps and pin drops, and when I first started driving, you'd get directions that if you reach the third creek crossing, go back because you're going too far. So that's just gone. It's just been a game changer for us.
Yeah.
What do you like about being a livestock transporter?
Don't go and see my wife, because she'll probably tell you the other side of the story. Look, you get around, you meet a lot of people, and a lot of the people are genuine, right? There's a few that are probably not, but a lot of them are genuine. I've had a lot of long-term customers, which my son's still got. You have the relationships with them, and it's surprising. Some of them, when I was 65 or something, one of my customers said, "Oh, I filled in an application for you for a seniors card," and I thought I could have looked at that both ways and be insulted, but I was pretty proud to know that a customer could think about you. And I know it was only a small thing, and that's how I got my seniors card. So.
And what do you like about being a livestock transporter yourself?
Oh, people you meet, the place you go. I still like getting in a truck and going west, and it's something that gets in your blood.
The satisfaction of a job when a job's done well, and the pat on the back you get from your customers.
Well, not one day's the same anyway. It's always forever changing. Dealing with the people, that's good. Dealing with good, honest, wholehearted people, customers, loyal customers is the
When you're a truck driver, favourite place to get a feed?
Probably bakeries, but the problem is where are all the good bakeries? They're all in town. There's a parking. The answer's no. So then you go to a service station and walk in, and it's got a Bay Marie there, and you look there, and as you get older and you got carrying a bit of weight like myself, then you got to do a selection now where you can't go for the fried fish and all that sort of thing, because it's no good for you. But yes, the bakeries are probably the best one, and you got to do your selection, sandwiches and that. That's been hard too.
Yeah, that's right.
We mostly just cook on the road, mostly using pubs wherever we go now. We don't sort of frequent too many roadhouses anymore. We're just there. Try and, even if we've got to keep going till 10, 11 o'clock at night to get somewhere, we might pull up at 6 o'clock and have a can of tea somewhere at a pub we're going past. Or other than that, we just cook on the road. There is one good roadhouse, Mortlake Roadhouse in Victoria.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There you go. Excellent.
If I ever had to pump a roadhouse, it would be that one.
That's right, yeah.
Probably Morven Roadhouse. Yeah, it's not a bad spot.
Oh yeah, Tuckerbox and Moorlands. Yeah. It's very hard to get a good feed on the road now. Yeah,
is it?
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of what you'd say good home style meals, but the Tuckerbox and Moorlands, mate.
Take one. Favourite place to get a feed on the road for a truck driver?
I do love Black Mountain Roadhouse's toasted sandwiches, and I used to love a feed at Untitled Roadhouse. That was always very good, the Caltex at Untitled. But yeah, I struggle. My trucks struggle to go past Black Mountain for a toasted sandwich.
And last one, favourite thing to listen to in the cab?
I listen to a diverse range of things. A lot of times I'm just happy to be quiet, listen to nothing. But I just listen to a bit of good country, really. Just something to zone out and to chill. Try and take a bit of time off the mind, for me anyway.
Well, at the moment I'm up with all the modern stuff. I rather like Luke Combs.
you always had a couple of radios going, which is UHFs and all that sort of thing. Oh, country western, I suppose. That would probably sum it up pretty well, country western. So that was about it.
Spotify is always good, and podcasts actually. So it's got on the podcast thing now. So that's it's all different sorts of things.
Until you're definitely a younger generation with that answer.
yes.
Actually, I love music, but I like podcasts now. Yeah, I find them very interesting. All of that stuff. Yeah.
Any particular ones?
Copy Southbound. Graham Keogh's from Wickham's.
Yep.
I've listened to it 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Just because there's 3 things you can learn off other people: what to do, what not to do, and that actually some of what you're doing is right.